Ever feel like an old iPhone? The hardware is still impeccable, the screen is flawless without a single scratch, the battery still holds its charge through the night, but the world's operating system, it has simply stopped supporting you. You try to download the latest success app and the system says, incompatible. In the neon-lit corridors of Silicon Valley, 40 is the new 80. You're not just an employee anymore. You're an antique, a legacy bug in a system that worships the raw, unpolished, and often reckless speed of youth. They want the move fast and break things energy. They want the 80-hour weeks fueled by caffeine and the desperate need to prove something. But let me ask you, is your value really measured by the velocity of your keystrokes? Is your worth defined by how quickly you can pivot to a new shiny framework that will be forgotten in 18 months? Or is there something hidden in your scars? Something deep in the read-only memory of your experience that Gen Z hasn't even discovered yet? Slowly, with weight. Today, we aren't just talking about career longevity. We are talking about the Stoic Citadel. We are going to redefine what it means to be mature in a world that is obsessed with being new. This is the story of Elias, the man who stayed still while the world imploded. Elias pushed open the heavy glass door of the Mars conference room. Inside, the air was thick. It smelled like blue energy drinks, expensive cologne, and the faint ozone scent of overclocked processors. 6 young engineers sat there. Their faces were illuminated by the ghostly blue glow of their MacBooks. They looked like soldiers in a digital trench, fingers flying across keys like machine gun fire. Elias, 42, stood at the threshold. He wore a simple charcoal gray sweater, no logos, no limited edition sneakers, just a man. He felt like a vinyl record spinning in a room full of Spotify playlists, richer in sound, but considered inconvenient by those who prefer the shuffle button. "Morning," Elias said. No one looked up. The silence wasn't accidental, it was a hierarchy. Jax, the 24-year-old lead, the golden boy who had just been featured in a 30 under 30 list, finally pointed a silver stylus at the massive wall-mounted screen. Jack's fast-paced, clipped, arrogant tone. "Elias, glad you could join the 21st century. Look, we've migrated the entire logic gate to the new Nova framework. Your database optimization from last week, we scrapped it. It was a bit legacy. Too many safety checks, too many redundancies. We need velocity, man. The investors are breathing down our necks. We're moving fast and breaking things now. That's the culture." Elias didn't argue. A younger version of him would have pointed out the risks. He would have felt his pulse quicken, his face flush with the need to defend his expertise. But Marcus Aurelius had taught him better. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. He looked at his hands. These were the fingers that had written the foundational code of this company 10 years ago, when Jax was still in middle school. He took a slow, deliberate sip of his black, bitter coffee. He wasn't seeking validation. He wasn't looking for a like or a follow from the room. He brought something they couldn't code, the confidence of a man who has mastered his own internal citadel. Late that night, Elias sat at his wooden desk at home. No RGB lights, just a single warm lamp and a copy of Seneca's letters. His phone buzzed. Low haptic vibration on wood. A name appeared, Marcus, the former CTO, the man who had walked away from a multi-million-dollar exit because he said the soul had left the machine. Marcus. Voice is like gravel, low, wise, slow. "Elias, I'm at this new AI startup in Austin. It's chaotic. The kids here, they're brilliant, truly. They're running at Mach 5, but Elias, they have no brakes. They're building a skyscraper on a foundation of sand because they think the sand looks prettier than the rock. I don't need more sprinters. I have plenty of those. I need an architect. I need someone who can see the icebergs while the ship is still miles away. Someone who knows that sometimes the fastest way to get there is to slow down. What do you say? Elias offered a faint, invisible smile. He didn't rush to say yes. He didn't ask about the salary or the stock options. He valued the invitation because it confirmed a fundamental Stoic truth. Experience is the only currency that does not devalue in a crisis. In a bull market, everyone is a genius. In a storm, everyone looks for the anchor. It was even younger than his current firm. Beanbags, ping-pong tables, the theater of productivity. He didn't sit like a job seeker, shoulders hunched, eyes pleading. He sat like a consultant who was already halfway out the door. When the young hiring manager began listing off the newest JavaScript libraries like they were holy scripture, Elias didn't interrupt. Instead, he stood up to the glass wall and picked up a marker. He didn't draw a UI, he drew a data flow map. He circled 3 specific points. "Here," Elias said, his voice calm, "this is where your velocity will meet reality. These are the fracture points. Under a load of 1 million concurrent users, your Nova framework won't just lag, it will shatter." He wasn't there to get a job. He was there to see if they were worthy of his stillness. He was practicing the Stoic art of discretion. He knew that his time was his only truly non-renewable resource. Then it happened. 3 weeks later, exactly as Elias had predicted during that silent cup of coffee in the Mars room. Jax's Nova system began to implode. A small error in the unnecessary safety checks Elias had written, the ones Jax had deleted, triggered a recursive loop. The velocity Jax worshipped became a double-edged sword. The system was now duplicating data errors by the thousands every second. The office was a portrait of panic. Young engineers were shouting, their faces pale in the red emergency lighting. Jax stood at the center of it all, his knuckles white as he gripped the edge of his standing desk. His eyes were wide, bloodshot, staring at a dashboard that was a wall of blood-red error codes. He was a captain who knew how to sail in the sun, but had never seen a wave higher than his mast. Elias stepped in. No panic, no sweat. He didn't run, he walked. He took exactly 30 seconds just to observe. Epictetus once said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Elias's eyes scanned the logs flowing like a chaotic waterfall. He saw the pattern. He saw the ghost in the machine. He made a decision that stunned the room. "Shut down the front end," Elias commanded. "Now, disconnect the entire user interface." Jax screaming, breathless, "What are you doing? The customers will see a blank screen. We'll lose face. We'll lose our ranking. The CEO will fire us all." Elias, absolute calm, icy, eyes locked on Jax. "To save a life, Jax, sometimes you have to sacrifice a limb. You're worrying about your image. You're worrying about what the world thinks of you. I'm worrying about this company's survival. Shut it down, or there won't be a company to rank tomorrow." For 10 minutes, the world went dark. The silence in the office was heavier than the noise had been. Elias worked. He didn't type fast, he typed correctly. Each keystroke was a calculated strike. He was the surgeon in the middle of a battlefield. The system came back online. The data was intact. The limb had been sacrificed, but the body, the core database, was saved. Elias didn't wait for a thank you. He didn't stay for the celebratory pizza. He packed his bag and left. He didn't fight Jax's earlier insults or his later apologies. Why? Because a rock doesn't get angry at the waves that crash against it. It just stays a rock. Lesson from Epictetus. There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. Jax's opinion of Elias was an external. It was noise. Elias's fortitude was his internal. It was his signal. Social proof for the skeptics. The Harvard Business Review confirms a powerful biological truth. While fluid intelligence, our ability to process new information and solve puzzles quickly, peaks in our early 20s, crystallized intelligence, the ability to use experience, see patterns, and maintain emotional regulation, doesn't peak until after 40 and often stays high well into our 70s. Elias solved the crisis 25% faster than the entire team combined, simply by filtering out the noise that overwhelmed the youth. He didn't have more speed, he had more clarity. Marcus's offer in Austin wasn't an escape, it was a choice. Wherever he is right now, he's a solid anchor in a shifting, volatile ocean. So I speak to you, the one feeling legacy, the one feeling outdated. Don't let a world obsessed with birth years price you by your age. Price yourself by the fires you've walked through. Price yourself by the storms you've survived while everyone else was jumping overboard. Share, what is one value or skill you possess that gets better with age? Tell me your story in the comments. I read every single one. Follow, if you're ready to stop being a user and start being an architect of your own life, hit subscribe. Master your emotions, master your destiny. I'll see you in the next one.